All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. I'm Jay, and that is Joe.
Joe. Oh, I was supposed to say my name. Sorry, I thought you were going to introduce
I was
me.
waiting for the
Yeah.
cue,
Oh, yeah. You know,
You can check out all of our...
I usually have things in my mouth and I can't talk.
Wow. You can check out all of our social media channels at Linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Today's episode is going to be in regards to what, Joe?
Well, you know what? We're going to talk about just stuff happening, man. Just crazy topics, things that are just happening today in America. Off the cuff. We're gonna do it's gonna be like a news brief, like back to days. You had the little printer that print up news briefs. We're gonna do that.
Yep,
We're doing
little
that.
ticker tape.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about some crazy stuff happening that's just it's just weird.
Yep.
Welcome to America.
Welcome to America. All kinds of crazy stuff.
So, oh man.
All right. Well, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Well, here we are once again. Thank you guys for joining us. We have a ton of old videos, so if you are new here and you haven't seen those, make sure you check them out. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe. I don't think the algorithm's too friendly to us by some of the topics that we do, so yeah. So
really not. I tell you to stop talking about those things, but you never listen to me. That's cool.
Yep. There we go. All right. So what's some of the things on the agenda?
Well, okay. So, us Americans, we're pretty picky about things, right? This is our country. You come here, you need to learn how to speak English, right? You don't come in here waving other flags. This is, we're really particular about things like that, right?
Right.
Except when the shoe's on the other foot. Right. So right now there's this controversy going on in Mazatlan, Mexico. Right. And so apparently Mazatlan's it's a big, a touristy destination.
Area,
And so there's a lot of gringos, right, that go over there.
Those are whiteys for those of you that don't know.
Those of you that don't know what gringo is, it's white folk, my white kid.
Whiteys.
Anyway, and they're welcome there. Hey, the more the merrier. We love them. Mexicans love the dollar. They love, sharing their culture. They love all that stuff, right? But now apparently, some Americans that were listening to some guy playing a little guitar in a patio out there by the pool in one of the hotels complained and said, those bands down there on the beach playing all that loud music, they need to go. And so one of the owners that owns the majority of the hotels that are down there in Mazatlan, kicked them out. Right. And so that created a backlash that was crazy. So they went to this guy's hotel and the front street just got loaded with musicians, and the type of music is banda. That's the ones with the right, huge
tuba.
Very very popular down in that part of the region, or that region of Mexico. And so they just went out there and oh, okay, you want to try to silence us because the gringos they wanted to hear Billy Bob playing the guitar, saying some soft music, right, and it would disturb them. So they're like, we'll show you.
They wanted Jimmy Buffett.
they were up there waiting for Margaritaville, right?
Margaritaville, yeah.
It wasn't happening.
The white Mexican music.
Right. And then the thing that really I think upset him, it wasn't so much them about that. What upset him was that the guy that owns the hotels, who's Mexican, right, told them, hey, you guys need to stop all that music and that ruckus and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what we're known for. And right. We're on the beach and you're telling us that we're okay. And so the very next day, the streets were packed with just bands, and they played all night. I mean, all night. They just kept going. They were partying there on the beach. They surrounded this hotel and the entire beach area full of bands. So here comes the military. right? So
Ooh.
the military has to come in and get involved. Guess who they sent? The military's band. And they're out there playing too.
No.
Yes. They're like, bro,
No.
this is what we do. I'm like, this is awesome, right? So it's just funny how, when all, we were so demanding here, but then as tourists, we go over there and demand even more. I'm like, look, bro, we already got your Costco, you already got your Sam's Club, your McDonald's, your Wendy's, your, all your Gordo stuff over there. Now you want to tell us like to cut down on the music? I mean, it's just, we have to kind of balance that out. We can't be over there saying we're going to Americanize this and just do what we want and complain. I think it was funny. I saw that. I'm like,
That is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember years and years ago when my dad was still alive, him and my stepbrother, we went down to Cabo San Lucas, and we were down there actually for New Year's, and we thought, oh, this is going to be great, be in Cabo for New Year's. And we're sitting there watching the clock, it's 11:59, and we're like, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then nothing. It was the same party going on at midnight as it was at 10 o'clock, man. It was just, every place was just partying it up. And we stayed up till, I don't know, probably around 1 or 2 or something that morning. My dad was like, I'm done with this nonsense.
Too old for this.
Yeah. I remember there was this one place that I was watching these people, and there were some people that were pretty drunkard up there. And it was like a 3-story building, and they had all kinds of crazy lights and stuff. It's a disco, discotheque. And
oh, look at you,
dude! The railings for that thing weren't over a foot high.
You kidding me?
And I was on that 3rd-story platform. I'm like, man, it's only going to take somebody to back into that thing and just when you're nail them in the back of the knees, and they're just going to go whoop whoop right.
And when you're drunk, you lost all kinds of equilibrium.
Man,
you going down quick.
Going down. So. Well, yeah, that's pretty funny. We had
crazy.
Yeah, a couple things that I want to kind of touch on that's happened in the last it's been over 3 weeks now, 4 weeks or whatever it's been. We everybody knows about the bridge collapse that happened, and then we had two more boats that hit, or ships, I should say, that hit
more bridges.
Yeah. So when was it? Like a week ago, I guess it was, that was in Oklahoma and smashed into, it was a concrete pylon there, and it didn't tear it down or anything. But, just some of those things, it starts getting weird why does that stuff always happen in groups? Have you ever heard of that, if somebody passes away and then somebody else passes away,
threes?
It's like, oop, it's going to happen in threes.
Yeah.
And the boat thing, I was just like, dude, that's so crazy how,
was it 3 now? So it's a 3?
Yeah. It was 3 of them.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
It's what does Pete Bootylicious, what's his name? The transportation guy? Pete
Buttigieg.
That dude. He made a valid point.
I don't think of him that way at all. So,
neither do I, but I can't say his last name. It's Bootylicious. There's booty in there.
Bootylicious. He would probably like that. So,
God. So anyway, he I think he hit the nail on the head when he said that those bridges are racist. They are very racist.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is the reason that they, we need to bring them down. Stop racism with the infrastructures in America.
Right.
Because there's little Black and Hispanic children that want to go to the beach, and they can't because the bridges are too low. So it's clearly racism. Hey, bro, he said that. You're laughing now, but that's true.
Yeah.
It's a direct quote from Pete Bootyman. Bootigan. Bugatti. Whatever the
Bugatti.
name.
Yeah, that's too rich for his blood. So, I guess the part that annoys me about all of those kind of things is, so, one of the big things at that side of the fence those guys have been yelling about is infrastructure in the country.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I agree. I mean, there is a lot of things that infrastructure needs to be fixed. Just take a drive around the country, and you can see in a lot of the, uber left leaning cities where the gas is the highest price and everything, where those taxes should be going to what? fix the roads,
The
right?
roads, yeah.
Guess what they're not doing?
Michigan.
They're not fixing the roads.
No,
So,
no. But we do things
so
ass backwards here. Like instead of like preparing for growth in like metropolises, right? In areas that are gonna double, right? Like when I lived in Las Vegas, they had these areas that were just dirt, but they were like leveled, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell they're doing that for. What are they gonna do? They were already thinking ahead. They were creating like a roadway, like because traffic was so horrible in Las Vegas. Like you
mhm.
take the 95 going up to like Mount Charleston, and
Yeah, I remember.
it's very. You remember you
Yeah,
went up there, and so they built this roadway that goes around, and it takes you over to Green Valley, and it was like very nice. Like, and I'm like, oh, these guys are. And like, years later when they built it, I'm like, oh, these guys were. Now I know what that leveled
little little
road was.
pre-planning.
Yeah, bro, they were pre-planning, and
Yeah,
they do that, because for the building highways is takes forever.
yeah.
You got to stop the flow of traffic. It just takes forever. I always said that the
Well,
guys who build the casinos should build the freeways, and the guys who build the freeways should build the casinos because you had that one casino that was sinking because it was clearly made too quickly. But in the freeways were taking too long to build, but
yeah,
they at least were looking ahead, knowing like, hey, you know what, this place is only get crazier. We have main event boxing here, we have big concerts, we have big festivals, people love casinos, our roads need to be better, right? And they planned ahead. But
yeah.
God, you look at, like you said, some of these other areas where honestly you can't even do anything, like Chicago. How much you could, all you could do is fix what's there, right?
Right.
New York City, the same thing. I don't know if you've seen like pictures of like the columns that hold the train.
Oh yeah,
They're like rusted. Like the train
yeah,
will go over and the pylons just kind of moving.
yeah,
I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
that's
People get dust. Yeah, people get a shower of rust dust as they walk underneath them
bro.
when the trains go by. Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
all
and
right, New
and you
Yorkers.
right, and you got to figure, New York, the first 13 states, the first 13
Yeah,
colonies, those states at least have a little bit of an excuse because they are the oldest ones in the country.
correct.
So, but you do have a lot of other states that, man, I mean, infrastructure is really bad. So the reason I kind of wanted to bring that up is because, you know, again, this side is like, we're going to tax you more and all these bond measures and all this kind of stuff to fix infrastructure. And they don't use the money for that.
Come
And
on, you
it's
already
just,
know about that.
yeah, it's just like everything else. It's like the climate change thing. They don't care about climate. They just care that they're going to get more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Allocated, and they can, swoop it off the top, and it's just like all these wars and everything else. I mean, we're giving quote unquote all this money, and look at all the instances where they're like, oh, we're missing money. We don't know where it went. I mean, me and the conspiracy theory stuff before
Oh,
9
you.
before 9/11. What's his name? God, I can't think of his name. Got up there and said, "Yeah, we don't know. We're missing a bunch of this, these funds and everything." And lo and behold, boom, 9/11 happens. The Pentagon gets smacked, and guess pay all this, the debt, all this money and everything. Now it totally disappears, and they don't have to worry about it anymore. That kind of stuff it's really crazy how they use excuses like infrastructure and I'm not saying that we couldn't be a cleaner species and not trash our planet. However, the environmental stuff is a bunch of nonsense and it's a money grab. It really is. I mean, I say it over and over again. Obama was a big pusher of that, and if he truly believed that, like if you said, hey, this area is going to catch on fire and we're going to have rampant forest fires in this area, but I'm going to go ahead and build a $1.2 million home there, and his
Yeah.
house was a lot more than that. So,
I
and,
think they
and he
use
built it
those.
right on the beach.
I think they use those bills to hide money, like hide different stuff for money. You
Well,
know,
yeah, there's a good movie that Julia Roberts and
is it
Tom
on
Hanks
Pornhub?
did. I don't. This is not that kind of movie.
Oh,
So,
all right. Well,
yeah, it's Julia Roberts and
I don't
Tom
want to
Hanks.
watch
It
it.
was called Charlie Wilson's War, and it just shows how senators and everybody how they do all these backdoor things to get money funneled, to where they want,
Like today,
and
they still do that.
absolutely, and obviously that's Hollywood, and they had to embellish some things and everything, but if you watch that movie and then you think about everything that's going on, it's like, wow, that's exactly the kind of thing that our politicians are doing.
Yeah.
And it's like all these bills and everything. The Republicans will blame the Democrats. The Democrats blame the Republicans for not passing or for passing or whatever, this kind of stuff. And it was like that one, God, it's been a month or two ago now, when they were talking about the border, and we all know the Democrats have wanted the borders wide open for as long as ever. They've been yelling at the Republicans that they're all racist for closing the borders, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when the polls come out and they see that people are sick of, so many people just flooding through the borders, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're going to put together a border package, this and that. And then the Republicans said, we don't want to vote for this. Well, it wasn't for the border portion of the package. It was everything else, all the garbage they put in it. And the fact that they can't create a bill, right? Just a single bill with a single purpose and pass it and get it done, and then go to the next one and pass it or
that
not
seems
pass
too
it.
Complicated. To do a single bill for a single item, too complicated.
Too complicated. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So, it's the same.
Don't be looking at Mexicans, man. We're already here. These are not people coming across the border. So I'm just going to clear that up right now.
Well, yeah. So that's that. And we had recently we had the solar eclipse that happened, which that was a big
dud,
big nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't really see much.
Everybody was prepping.
Yeah. I had my
not that I didn't have my rifles and guns in my car. Just
everything ready. I had my 90 gallons of water and my 500 cases of Spam.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate I lost all those guns in the boating accident. Again. I have too many of those. I'm gonna have to look into some better.
What's that behind your chair back there?
That's my
that's your guard dog. Your pirate scope?
My pirate scope. Rawr.
Oh, your pirate. I call that my guard dog. It barks really loud.
It barks loud. But so anyway, as you know, a few weeks ago we had Easter, right? And so
he is risen.
He has risen. So I can't help but notice the ridiculousness that this administration, like, there was times when people used to try to hide things, they were a little nonchalant about it. Yeah. And now, thanks to this administration, they are just doing it in your face, like, rah. So I don't know so you heard about the whole transgender day of
I'm sure everybody's heard of it by now.
I don't know what that's called. It's too long. I don't know. Anyway, so that was just one, right? The other thing was that Kathy Hochul, how do you say her name? Hochul? She's the governor of New York. Hochul? Is it Hochul? Y'all need to take. All right, man. I don't even know. Anyway, I was gonna say booty too. Bootylicious. Kathy Bootylicious.
Kathy Bootylicious. That's all of them. That's
so she had all the names. I don't know if you know this, but she had all the major landmarks in New York lit up in the trans flag colors. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah. So instead of I don't know if you remember back in the 50s, 60s, I don't know when the last time they did it, but like in New York City during Easter, they would put like how they light up the buildings, they'd have Christmas trees for Christmas and things like that. For Easter, they had the cross. And there was these three buildings, the Empire State Building being one of them, that had the three crosses for he has risen, clearly for Easter. And now they've changed that to the trans flag colors. And I'm like, where did we take that turn? Where did we like detour, right? Yeah. And just make it about sexuality. You already know how I feel about all that craziness, right? You already know that we are this nation is so diluted in this this craziness that I'm like, I was talking
Well,
to, I was talking to someone today about that, and like, everyone's kind of over it, right? We just because we don't protest, we're
yes,
you know,
sir.
conservative people, and again, I'm not politics. Conservative people are kind of we're more reserved, right? We don't go out in the streets and we don't like protest and we don't burn things down. We don't do anything like that.
Well, we can't do that in the middle of the day because we're working. We got jobs.
And you're correct. And we all have IDs, so they're gonna catch us, right? So
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah, and our hair isn't blue, so we can't,
we can't blend in with the other blues. So so you know,
Clues.
we don't do that. But it's getting to a point where now, even now, like, and you've heard me say this a lot of times, like, I miss my old gay times, not mine, but like with all the old gay people, the OGs,
Specify.
I call them the OGs, the original
Yeah.
gays, the
Yeah.
OGs. They were about totally stuff about equality in marriage, right? They wanted health benefits. They want to be able to adopt. They didn't want to make things difficult. And, no one really said anything. We're like, man, we do what we want. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever, no one protested. We're on the streets. We weren't doing nothing. We weren't, lynching gay folks. We weren't doing none of that.
No.
And
Not at all.
But, and we respected that. And I think what's happened now is that the trans community has totally hijacked the LGBT community. Like,
oh, absolutely,
just taking it over. And
there's a lot of the, like you say, the OG gay folks,
yeah,
that they want to be taken out of that whole long alphabet soup thing, and they just want to go back to,
well, they changed it now.
LG.
They're now they're not even allowed to be called lesbians or gay or anything like that. They're calling them something. What was it?
Yeah, see,
females attracted to masculine or feminism, or males attracted to masculinity. Well, they're like totally changed it, and like the OGs are like, what? Wait a minute. These were our acronyms before they became yours.
Right.
We kind of threw you in there because we don't want to hear you bitch or complain. And now they've hijacked it. And now like the OGs, the older gay folks are like, I don't need a part of that. And that's how bad it's gotten. And it's sad because like it's in our face every day. Like I just saw a post today that there's 100 and something days of observations of whatever for trans sexuality, things like that.
See, and that's we've talked about this, bro. And I agree with you. I mean,
we have one day as Mexicans, Cinco de Mayo. It's not even our holiday. We don't even celebrate it. It's an American Mexican holiday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really disagree with the whole thing of promoting anything
sexuality.
Is it like a sexuality deal? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Find that.
Most of your holidays are celebrating, whether it's a kind of religious type deal or it is a patriotic type deal. Say something like 4th of July or what have you. These are all they're moments in time that we celebrate because they like for Canada, what is it, Boxing Day, and and like for Jewish folks, the Passover, and things like that. So if for the Muslim people, it's Ramadan, and you got all these different things that are celebrated in the United States, and they don't coincide with what you do behind closed doors, kind of thing. These are things that could be celebrated out in public that nobody's going to take offense to. Like you and I are not Jewish and we are not Muslim, right? But if we saw somebody celebrating Ramadan or Passover because they're of those religions, would we be offended by it? Absolutely not. We wouldn't care. Those are their things that they're going to celebrate. And it's like
they have it. Like if you go to the store to buy anything for Christmas, they have all the stuff for Hanukkah, right? No one gets offended.
Absolutely.
No one, you know what I mean? No one's like, oh my God, take this off.
I told you this before. I worked in a place years and years ago, and the area was a large Jewish community there. And we sold really nice, like the brass menorahs and stuff like that. Yeah. They were really nice for Hanukkah around the holidays. And I would have people all the time, and they would assume, I guess, I was Jewish just because I don't know. I don't think I look like it, but they would
It was
say
those locks that you had. Remember those locks?
when I wore the locks.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
And they would say Happy Hanukkah, and I'd say thank you, and I don't celebrate it, but that's not offensive, that's not an offensive thing.
No.
Now, somebody coming up and saying, hey, you're being offensive to us because you're saying you wouldn't date another guy or what have you and have butt sex with other men. It's like, right? I'm like, there's no need for that, and especially there's no need for our children to have anything to do with it. And I think that's where the big controversy has come in. There have been drag queens forever. I mean, we remember them as a kid, right? I mean, what's the name? RuPaul kind of made it popular, later on in time, but he's been around a long time.
But he's an entertainer.
He's an entertainer.
He doesn't dress that way all the time.
No, and the thing is, and he never pushed like a sexualization type of deal.
No.
And
he never had story time.
No, and if you go back far enough, that's the thing is that so just like a bunch of adults will go to a sports bar or something, you don't have a bunch of kids in there, right? You have a bunch of adults doing rooting on their favorite sports team or whatever and having some beers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as those folks would have there's that one place called Hamburger Mary's. It's always been a big deal for, like kind of the trans kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And they have shows in there and everything. And same thing, people go and have drinks and burgers and stuff like that. But it's all adults, and there was nobody had an issue with that. The issue came, and really, we've spoke on this before. I don't know what it is ever since it seems like COVID hit. Everything went
down the tubes.
Yeah, it just got really weird. Everything got weird. The left and right divided, terribly over that because you had, and this isn't everybody, but you had a lot of people on, the right side of the fence that were, and I always hate the whole thing anti-vax or all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
but yeah, but we're a little bit more reluctant, let's say, to take the vaccine, wear a mask, and all the stuff, and shut down everything. They were very much against all that. You had the people on the other side that were like, shut everything down. Everybody needs to get stabbed. Everybody needs to, wear a mask all the time. And so you had two very, very divided lines on that. And then everything just got crazy. I mean, we started having, all kinds of weird riots and people, and then the trans thing just like popped out of nowhere, I mean, it's always been there. I don't want to say it's always been there, but it's always been there to a point where people knew about it, but nobody really cared.
No, well, no one really.
But as soon as the Zoom stuff happened for kids, where the kids were at home and the parents were at home too, because they weren't at work, and they're walking by and they're seeing what their teachers are talking about to their kids in school, that's when everything people started waking up. There's that whole saying about being red pilled, where folks start waking up to the fact that they've been lied to all this time, kind of like from the movie The Matrix. And they started realizing that their kids are not being taught, all the stuff. Why is it that all of a sudden kids test scores and everything have went down dramatically since all of this DEI and all this kind of nonsense has popped up? Why is it? Why is that the case? Well, because they're so worried about all this other nonsense that has nothing to do with an education.
Right.
And so and we've talked about the education system before too on our program, how much that was a setup, back in the day from like the Rockefellers to create dumb employees. If you read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, his father was part of the school board over in Hawaii, and very long story short, he was at a school board deal and he was saying, this is what we need to do to get test scores up, and the owners of now this is a long time ago, like back in the 50s or whatever, the plantation owners, like the pineapple plantations and stuff like that, they said, no, we don't want a bunch of kids being smart and graduating school. We need a bunch of dum-dums failing and dropping out of school so they can come work for our plantations. And if you don't think
we have those now.
that's exactly what's going on right now,
Yeah.
you know,
But they don't want to work.
and then, right, they don't want to work. And then you have, what was it? The first of the month, the first of the month, like the 1st of April, Mr. Gavin Newsom, your uncle over there in California, he passed. It actually passed. They have to start paying everybody $20 an hour at
So
the fast food
let's
joints.
talk about that. That's totally a different headline. So let's talk about that.
Yeah,
I think I don't know what they're doing. I'm just say it right now because
well,
I feel like
stupid.
I feel like they're destroying or trying to destroy our nation. Like
Absolutely.
the open gates, right? Clearly impacting financially these states. It's becoming a burden to the states. But then you have all these liberal governors and mayors who are just giving money to them, right? There's no federal aid whatsoever. They're just giving them money from the state. And I'm like, man, then you got your pappy there, Gavin Newsom, who you said just raised it to $20 from 16, right? It's currently 16. It was 16.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to the mom and pop shops?
So why not make it 25? Why not make it $50 an hour? I mean, it's such an arbitrary, like they have no clue. The folks that are doing this, like Gavin Newsom, they have no concept of a business at all, right? Politicians should have nothing to do with the business side of things. And anytime that, like, folks are like, well, but you can't have a living, you can't buy a house on a McDonald's wage. No, you can't. And you're not supposed to be able to, right? Those are starter jobs for kids in high school and stuff like that.
Now, there are some
right?
adults there, but, some of these are retirees and they just want to, like,
right. Well,
I don't want to work
if
full-time.
if you want to become a GM for like a In-N-Out or something like that, listen, they make enough money to buy a house, okay? But that's a GM for the place, right? The general manager,
Yeah.
Or district managers or whatever. You remember a lady we worked with years and years ago, and she worked in our food service department, but she was also she was a store manager for Carl's Jr.'s, and then she became a DM for them. She was making really good money, man, doing that job. The starter level jobs, that's what they are.
Starter level.
They're starter level. I mean, you think about companies like Walmart, or Target, right? What's a cashier get paid? Minimum wage.
Maybe
right?
maybe a few cents more than that.
What is a store manager, a store team leader? What do they make? They make six-figure income.
Yeah, they make
right?
some good money.
Yeah. And then what if you become a DM or a regional manager
for
those companies?
Even more money.
You're making killer money. Yeah. I mean, these are people making $250,000 a year at those levels up there, or more.
And people are thinking like, oh my God, you're a manager at Walmart. A cashier, maybe not that much money, but a manager, they make money.
So that's the thing. And again, we've talked about these things before. My first minimum wage job, this is the difference in mentality from then to now. Back then, I worked for minimum wage. I never wanted to make more money. I mean, I wanted to make more money, but I never wanted to make more money in the job that I had. Right? I was unloading trucks. I was getting minimum wage. I never expected to make more money doing that. You know what I did? I worked my butt off to get promoted, and then I started making more money. And
is that what happened to your butt?
And then I was satisfied. That's why it's gone now. And I became unsatisfied with that paycheck. So guess what I did? I got promoted again, and I got unsatisfied with that paycheck until I was, a assistant manager for that particular company. And then I moved on to another company because it was going to take too long to, go any higher there. And that's the thing is people have to understand that there's levels, right? So why is it that you would want to get a bachelor's degree versus or an associate's degree versus just a high school diploma? Why would you want to do that? why shouldn't you get the same job off of a high school diploma that you would get by getting an associate's? No, you have to get an associate's to get a better job.
Right.
And then why do you need a bachelor's to get a better job than that? Why do you need a master's to get a better job than that? Why do you? Because there's different levels. There's, you go through all these different schoolings, right, to get these better jobs. Well, it's the same thing in the job, right? Entry level is barely your grade school, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're getting paid for. And then as you move up, a lot of these folks think that they're going to walk into a Pizza Hut cashiering job making $250,000 a year, getting CEO salary. And it's asinine to think this way. So, I mean, Gavin Newsom, California, he's going to ruin a lot of it. I saw an interview with a lady that owned her and her husband, they were franchisees, I guess you would say, for McDonald's. And they had like 8 McDonald's franchises. And she said, as soon as this happens, we're already, 2 of our stores are struggling. We're going to have to just shut them down, and possibly a third, because we can't do it. But we can't have the employees versus the food cost and all that stuff. And that's the thing too, is you're already overtaxing your businesses, right? You're saying your businesses make too much money, so you're overtaxing them. And now you're going to say, well, all these employees, the employee, it won't be required to do any better job for the same amount of money, right? In fact, now what does it do? It creates entitlement, right? These people think that they are owed this money, and they don't have any worth to work for. And it creates a whole mess.
Well, I think the only thing that's going to happen, it's going to create, is they're going to pass the cost down to consumers. So now you're going to go get a little Happy Meal. It's going to be worth $20. You know what I mean?
Right. So, and the thing is the ignorance, the people that are getting the $20 an hour now are going to go, well, why is everything so expensive now? Well, here's the deal.
Your pay.
Here's the deal. This mentality can never work in a capitalist society where you want fair pay and wage and costs,
Yeah.
right? You can never say, I want all the lowest prices for me to pay, but I want to get paid the most.
Doesn't work.
That's never going to work.
Yeah.
So, boss, I need you to pay me more money, but all the stuff in here that I'm going to buy from you after I get my paycheck, I need it to be cheaper. It just doesn't work that way. That's not the way
I
things
see
work.
discounts going away, like employee discounts.
Yeah,
I see
employee
those going away.
discounts, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're getting paid better, so no discount.
Yeah, you're getting paid better, so you can afford this now. We used to give you discounts because, we felt that you got paid too little. So, you take
And now the
societies.
supply chain is damaged because we have no bridges left.
Well, you take places like Japan, for example. Japan is an extremely conservative society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really conservative over there. You know what they have zero of in their restaurants? In fact, they will get offended.
What's that?
It's tipping. Tipping.
Really?
If you go to a restaurant in Japan, you do not leave a tip, man. They get very offended if you do. So, and why is that? Well, because they've figured it out. People work. People, the price is what it is. They're getting paid what they get paid. And if you want to get paid more, you go get a different job that pays you better, right? Or you go to school to get that degree or what have you. And the thing that's really super, super silly, and again, many things that we've discussed before, is that, like in the state that we live in, if you become like an electrician / AC person, you become a plumber / pool person, you will never, ever, ever be out of work. And there's so many jobs like garage door repair, and not just for homes, but commercial garage doors and stuff like that. They make tons of money. I mean, those guys make great money, 24-hour call kind of stuff. When you're on call, you make double time, and all that. And there's so many different things so yeah, kind of going back to the new Gavin nuisance thing. He's just really, I mean, I can't believe that people haven't seen that he's just wrecking the crap out of that state. Just the ignorant decisions that guy makes. The policy decisions are terrible, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't say, it's only been in the books for a few weeks, so I don't know what impact it's really done, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
We'll have to
man,
repeat.
it's
You know
gonna
what?
be
We'll say it now. We'll come back to this in like 6 months and bring, kind of rehash and say, hey, remember when we talked about that? Yeah, we'll bring it back and see where they're at.
we're
I
gonna have
guarantee it's not going to be
we're,
any
we're
good.
gonna have to cut them off, and they're gonna have to be like their own independent country, the Republic of California or something over there.
Yeah.
Can't afford
Well,
to
the
keep
thing
you
is,
guys.
it's so expensive to live there, anyways. It's not like going
Yeah,
from 16 to $20 is going to help. And the thing, here's
bro,
the
one
crazy,
bedroom apartment over there,
here's
and
the crazy
it's
thing, man.
ridiculous.
You're going to make more money, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go back and look at it, but I think it popped those folks into a higher tax bracket, so they're going to be paying more taxes. So they may make about the same amount as they were making before.
But on paper, it
So
looks
what
good.
is? Well, that's the thing. It looks so. All these people are going to vote for this guy because look, he's getting us a couple bucks more an hour, kind of thing. And what did he really do? He's making the businesses actually pay more taxes because the business is paying the individual more taxes. They jump up into a higher tax bracket and they pay more money now to the state that the state wasn't getting. So I mean, it's just
Come to daddy. Newsom's getting a
man.
pay raise. But you know what? You know what's funny? You were mentioning about the tips in Japan, Japon,
Yeah,
and Japon.
hop
And,
on.
I was thinking that we have uh, the machines at self checkout asking if you want to leave a tip. I'm like, wait a minute.
Who's that going to?
Who is
Does
that
this
going?
machine get the tip?
Who
Because
gets
I want this
the
machine.
tip? Is it for the guy is it for the guy that's standing there or gal that's standing there that helps you? Absolutely no way. Hey, I just
Yeah.
scanned this and I'm like, and it takes them 20 minutes and then they get an attitude about it. You know what I
Well,
mean?
there was a story a few years back, and it was Home Depot, and they did like a test run with this. So they were trying to get Home Depot cards, where you apply for a Home Depot card. Because why do all these companies want you to apply for their card? One, it's a loyalty card, right? Because if you have Home Depot versus Lowe's or Ace Hardware or whatever, if
You
I
could
have a
only
Home
go
Depot
spend it
card,
there.
I'm more likely to go back to Home Depot. So it's a
Yeah.
loyalty thing, number one. Number two is that on average, people with credit cards spend more money on credit cards than they do with the check or cash, right? How many of us have had $100 bill in our wallet or purse? I know you carry a Merce, so the $100 $100 bill, and you don't want to break it, right? You're like, I don't want to break it because once I break it, it's all gone, kind of thing. And so we hold on to our cash tighter. Credit card will spend more. Average dollar per customer is much higher on a credit card always. So Home Depot had all their cashiers asking people to get a Home Depot card.
Mm-hmm.
And so they started with, now all of them are almost all like self checkout now. But what they did an experiment, and with the self checkout machines, the self checkout machine would ask every customer, would you like to apply for a Home Depot card, save 10% today, or whatever it was? Guess who was the number one cashier in the company getting the most Home Depot cards?
The computer?
The computer. Because the computer asked every time, where cashiers, they'd look you up and down. Joe, he can't afford one.
He just looked
he got
poor.
bag.
He just
He got
looked
bag
poor.
credit.
He just looked. That fool just looked poor.
I'm not going to ask him. He's going to say no anyway.
He probably like a high 300. He ain't getting it.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But you know what's funny?
So, anyways,
You know what's funny though? Talking about that tip is like when you go order something like at McDonald's and whatever you go, like the cashier there is like their tip. I'm like, you hitting buttons. You didn't do a damn thing. Like I just don't get it. Like we live on this.
I don't either. You know where it really drives
just
me crazy, man, is so McDonald's, like, it's expensive.
Yeah.
If you look, like, go online right now, mcdonalds.com, and then go to inandout.com. Get a burger, fries, and a soda. It's cheaper to go to In-N-Out than it is now. Riddle me that. How come In-N-Out can sell a burger, fries, and a soda for cheaper than McDonald's can.
Because they're
And
privately
they pay their
owned, and they
employees
don't
more.
have they're privately owned, and they don't have board members that they have to
There's
comply to or to give money
Yep.
to. It's a
That's
private
right.
business. That's why.
So the franchise people in the McDonald's that own those, they have to pay franchise fees and all kinds of stuff. So it's very expensive.
Percentage.
I'm sure everybody's heard it cost over $1 million to start a McDonald's franchise. That's before you get employees and stuff and everything. Yeah. So
And
yeah,
that's
these
just the
machines.
name, because you have to get the building and everything else, don't you?
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
have to lease all that from McDonald's. So they're they are a real estate company. They're a fast food company.
They're everything.
They've done a lot to make a ton of money on the back end. The McDonald's Corporation makes a lot of money, and they don't have to do a whole lot of anything other than the advertising side of things, and maybe come up with a new McRib sandwich every year or whatever they do.
I don't know what that is.
Figure
I
out
don't
whatever
even want
the
to
new
look at
toys
that.
are.
It looks funny.
Ugh.
I donated blood the other day, and they asked me for a tip.
Wow.
I'm like,
Well,
wow. I go, well, take another pint. I don't know what to tell you. I don't got money.
When you
So then I left that place, went over, donated some plasma. I got $800. So then I went back and gave them a tip. I'm just kidding.
That's funny. $800. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be giving away all my blood.
No, not blood, plasma, bro. Apparently that sells.
Plasma.
They pay you for that. I'm like, what? I'm like, man, I should have said nothing out. All the tweakers are gonna be out there looking for donating
Well,
plasma.
they can't because of all their stuff and everything. Yeah. If you ever go to the Starbucks or Dutch Bros or any of those places, dude, you get it's a $4 to $7 drink or $10 drink if you're really bougie.
It's cheaper.
And get something crazy.
Cheaper at Dutchies.
Yeah, Dutch Brothers is much cheaper.
Yeah,
definitely rather go there.
Yeah.
But they ask you for a tip, and it's like a $3 tip on a $6 drink. It's like a 50% tip. It's just kind of crazy.
You just paid $10 for a coffee.
I just don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Brew your home.
All right,
coffee.
everybody. Yeah, make your own coffee at home.
Oh man! All right, man.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for joining us once again. I'm Jay, and that's Joe, and this has been Joe and Jay Outspoken. If you enjoyed what you've seen and the content that we had, give us a thumbs up, and definitely check out some of our older stuff. We've got some great things back there. We got some awesome stuff coming up, so make sure you click
follow,
that.
and subscribe.
Yeah, that subscribe button. It'll help you be notified when we have our new episodes that come out. When? Every single Tuesday.
Every
so
Tuesday.
We've got new
Unless Jay
episodes
gets
every
arrested
Tuesday
for something.
Yeah,
Then we ain't having it. It's gonna just be Joe.
we can't talk about that.
Oh, sorry.
And then mid-month Wednesdays we have our Outspoken Men's Edition.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good
so we
series,
got-
guys. Tune in. And
we
women
got that
too.
coming
Tune
up.
in.
Yeah, we got that coming up on the 17th, which is tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out tomorrow. So, all right. Well, everybody, make sure you take care of one another.
And remember, do better, be better.
And as always,
God bless America.
We'll see ya.